Where is it? When's it going to shine through? We'll go through the map ban phase, and
is it going to be here, Michael?
So it might be.
I was going to say we pop it up right at the bottom here. Funny thing with obviously you being in California, me being in Toronto, there's going to be like a second between us, but that's all right. Where are we going to go? Theme park is still open. No, it's not any longer. It's gone. We're going to go to border. We came so close. We saw theme park in the very final matchup in EU earlier today. It was BDS losing to Chaos, and it was an exciting match. We've also seen theme park get played a number of times in ANZ/APAC, and especially in APAC North. With some Japanese teams were playing it, I believe it was yesterday or the day before as well. It's very interesting to watch the way that theme park gets shaken out because Bank, of course, getting removed from the map pool. Theme park is now in, but we might have to wait and see if theme park pops up later today because we're just going to go to border between these two teams.
I'm going to be honest with you, Parker. I really do want to see theme park at some point. It doesn't have to be now. It's obviously not going to be, but that will be exciting if we get to it. Fingers crossed. Of course, that relies upon two teams agreeing that they're going to be comfortable going to theme park, and not everybody is going to be on that page. But yeah, we've got our map. It'll be border. Now, if we take a look at the statistics for, again, recent results, I said it in the lead-in, and it's true. Both of these teams have only won a single map since December of 2019. For Evil Geniuses, it was Consulate. They managed to win on that map against Luminosity in Pro League. And then for their opponents, Tempo Storm, it was actually against Evil Geniuses. So that's, a good bet there for Tempo Storm. It was on Cafe though as well, so there's no real record to work with when it comes to border. It's been played by both teams, I believe, one time, but lost both of those times. So not a lot to say, to be honest, when it comes to these teams, again, statistically.
Border's obviously a much more aggressive map as well. We kind of jokingly refer to it as a freak show map because there's very crazy frag heavy things that get pulled off on Border that wouldn't really fly on other maps, especially a map like Cafe, which is tending to be quite structured, especially on that top and bottom floor sites. You see teams especially succeeding on defense more than on attack, and there's quite a lot of flexibility as to what you can bring in terms of attackers and defenders on a map like Cafe. Border, we tend to see teams stick to very simple compositions. You bring a couple soft destructors, one hard breacher, maybe some gadget denial, and that's really it. That's it. You can bundle up on operators with really good guns. Zophia's been leading the way. She has the highest pick rate of any attacker right now. Expect to see her an awful lot. Expect to see Buck unless he gets banned because he has been targeted on a map like Border. So it's going to be fun to watch because one thing that adding Spades to this roster for EG did was add somebody who is a pretty good shot and can play very aggressively, and that was the role they had him in on Cafe. How much is Mark in more of a support role going to matter to TS? Well, it's not really going to lend himself, or his role rather, to that aggressiveness that you see on Border, but he's still a very solid pickup, and we'll see how long Tempo has taken to adjust to Mark, knowing that they moved Filthy off that roster about a month or so ago.
Now, looking at history, we do know that Tempo Storm has a history of banning Buck. So if we're going to go into the bans for this map, you can definitely expect that one to come out. Also, Nomad is a likely ban here on Border. Evil Genius is interesting. Last time they played Border, the one time in the last few months or so, they actually banned Ash, which is, I don't think we're going to see that here, but it could happen. It's much more likely we'll see a Nomad and a Buck ban or something along those lines. Possibly a Valkyrie ban, as we have seen that actually as well on this map. From neither of these teams, though, there will be one disagreement here. Both of these teams are frequent Echo banners, which means that someone's going to have a free defensive ban, and it's going to be malleable, probably a Mira, but who knows? They could go any which way with that. We have seen Mira brought out on Border when not banned, as this is one of the maps where she is disposable and yet useful for the defense, while simultaneously being counterable by the attack. So if she manages to make her way into the match, it's not going to be a surprise to anyone.
No, and I don't know if we're even going to see her, as you said. Sometimes she gets used, sometimes she doesn't. It really depends on the way that teams want to play her out, and when her ban rate tends to fall, we don't see teams run to pick her up as an operator. Now, we do have the very first of this second half, I guess you could call it community vote, popular vote. Who do you like? Who do you want to see win? Who do you think is going to win? What goes through your head during this vote. When you click on one of these two teams, or possibly even a draw, well, you still think that Evil Geniuses will be able to edge out Tempo Storm, but just barely, with 9% of you thinking that there's going to be a draw. So that's about par for the course when you look at our usual numbers. I do think that Evil Geniuses as a team is ripe for a bounce back. They are way too chock full of good players to be in the position they're in. They had Gotcha on that roster for much of the season as well, and now with Spades on there, what is he going to be able to add to that team? How is he going to synergize with Mo? How is he going to synergize with NBK? Will we start to see some better performance from the support players on EG? As we noted, that both Necrox and Young have very poor stats in terms of their previous seasons, but don't rule out Tempo Storm. They're a team that has been unpredictable and improving slightly every single season, so it stands to reason that this community vote was as close as it was.
So when I'm looking at these teams and I'm judging who I think is going to be able to get up, I'm not necessarily looking at the individual players, because I'll be honest, there's a concentration of talent on both sides, and we've seen it underutilized by both teams through this first half of the season. Going into the second half, the real question for me is players on the same page, because we've seen many matches with Evil Geniuses, Tempo Storm, both of them, where they'll have an idea maybe of what they are trying to do in a round, but it doesn't seem like it's cohesive. It doesn't seem like everyone's trying to execute the same way, or that it's in any way practiced. And that is the intimidating thing for me for both teams. That's their biggest hurdle. It's what they'll have to get over if they want to start getting wins, other than the one that both of these teams both have. I don't know if that's going to be today. I don't know if it's going to be later down the line in the season. But whichever one of these teams is more cohesive, whichever one of them shows to be more on the same page, that's going to be the team that'll win here today. Almost guaranteed. Parker,
we're not going to waste too much time here at all, so we're going to dive right into it. The matchup is starting out on Border, and, well, we might already need a rehost, so we'll come right back to us. Apparently, a connection error right off the hop. That is unfortunate, that start, but we'll see if the bands will continue apace as you now have us back on your screen.
Good to be back. It feels like it's been a long time, Parker. You know, I missed it. It's good to be back casting with you, by the way. How are things?
Things are great. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking. I'm just really excited to get into the action and get all this started up, see how these teams pair up against each other. And again, the question, you know, that elephant in the room is, where are these teams right now after that not fantastic first season? I'm looking forward to getting an answer to that once we actually get the action underway.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams are coming in here with, I don't know, I want to say pretty low expectations, even though I don't think you can say that either of these organizations have low expectations for their teams. I don't think you can say that EG or Tempo Storm as orgs are expecting their teams to underperform, especially EG when you look at the pedigree that this team has. You look at the achievements that the EG squad has over the last 3 years, they are batting well below average, and clearly something is going to need to change on their squad. And like I said, is Spades that secret ingredient to make them the top team that they were before? We don't know, and I'm excited to see that as well. And furthermore, it's always nice to see a team that comes in from Challenger League who struggles to adapt, slowly improve their game, and end up becoming a force to be reckoned with. And that is very much, I mean, Space Station was there. Space Station was tending to be towards the bottom of the NA standings 2.5 years ago, and now they're world champions. Do we see that same trajectory from Tempo Storm? Well, the Space Station team only has one player on it that was on it at the same time, which is Thinking Nade, so they had to make a couple roster moves. But it's always nice to watch as a team grows, and I think that's what we're looking at with Tempo Storm.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that they turn into that next SSG. They take that same path and they start progressing. And that's all on them. And then with Evil Geniuses, it's a totally different conversation. The type of team that they are, again, we've already talked about the pedigree, the experience, the high level of talent in each of these players individually. and the question marks surrounding their current performance. I think it's a very different discussion for Evil Geniuses even. You could say that really, and we don't know because as MVK likes to state, and this is true, we're not on the team. We can't possibly know exactly what's going on there. But from an outside perspective, it seems like they just need to start getting themselves all together, focused on the same thing, and the same goal, which is winning matches. Because we know they've got it in them, so we're just waiting to see that pop out. Over the first half of the season, for Evil Geniuses, it seemed a whole lot like, well, NVK didn't go positive, but he had a decent performance compared to the rest of his squad. It seemed a lot like Modiga and MVK trying to hold up on these losing rounds, or losing matches as a whole, where they would be getting kills, maybe 3 kills out of the 5, 4 kills out of the 5, and then still losing the round in the end because there wasn't enough push through from the rest of their squad. And again, the conundrum is we know that doesn't have to happen. We know that these players are capable of all pushing through together in unison. So is this going to be the time where they actually do that? That's what we're all wondering.
Well, wonder no more, because we're ready to launch into the map for the second time. We'll just make sure that everything is going okay before we transition on into the ban phase. And of course, with EG starting on defense, they're going to get the very first defender ban. Also worth noting, both Wamai and Kali are available for play here. We saw Wamai get used a couple of times in EU earlier today. How will that affect the bans? Of course, the 2 new operators, Oryx and Yana, have been put in quarantine, so you don't need to really worry about them popping up. But the bans so far are decently standard. A Capitao and a Thatcher being taken out, and now we transition over to the 2 defender bans.
So again, both of these teams preferring to ban Echo. Typically, we'll probably see it in the latter ban if Tempo Storm has studied up here. And yes, okay, they have. That's a good sign from Tempo. They'll get rid of Mira, and probably going to be an Echo ban here from Evil Geniuses. Could also be a Valkyrie. They've got choices. But no, in fact, it's going to be a hard left turn into a Cade ban. That's very different. It's going to change quite a lot of how this plays out. So that means you've got your Maestro and your Echo available. You've also got Valkyrie, so full information suite for the defense. And I mean, apart from that, there's not a lot of debilitating bans here for either team, to be honest. A lot of particular bans. Capitao and Mira are the types of bans that are going to eliminate a very unique way of dealing with problems for each side. Thatcher and Cade play into the same game, and I'm guessing that Cade ban is as a result of the Thatcher ban earlier. So it makes sense. It's just a very different ban phase than what would be expected from these squads.
At the 6 Invitational, we saw, I believe it was Dark Zero and Space Station, both use Kaid strats that hadn't really been shown before, and it involved throwing Kaid, his Electroclaw, up onto both of the vents on either side of that armory wall. So will that happen again? That's the question to ask. However, no, with him not available, you got to take him out of the match. And you're absolutely right. You know, if you see a Thatcher ban that comes in, you have really no choice but to also remove the Kaid, and it's going to free you up. You know, you don't have a mute ban, you don't have a bandit ban. There's going to need to be some denial here for the defenders. As you can see on Necrox's side, there's a mute in play. He's going to be the lone wall denial for Evil Geniuses. As for Tempo Storm, well, they're not bringing a Maverick, even though he is available. So they obviously think that they're comfortable with the Zofia, the IQ, and the Buck to be able to dislodge any of the anti-breach denial that might pop up. Also noting that our very first round here, Spades is going to be bringing out the Wamai.
So, Wamai now available. See what he's able to do here. That's double grenade denial, I mean that Wamai and Jaeger combination. Lighter on the information denial for the defense, that they've only brought the mute. And that means the mute Mozzie combo will take a back seat to this throwable projectile counter. Butter's gonna open up a wall, a long angle to cut off rotation between Armory and Archives. That'll be a good control established from Tempo. Interesting that wall was not reinforced. Many teams will reinforce this one on the defensive side. They instead decided to reinforce the wall on the other end. That's a little bit different, but there's definitely a reasoning when it comes to Evil Geniuses. It's the half-reinforced Armory wall. Now, this is designed to allow impact tricking, but it also leaves you vulnerable to some easy soft destruction. There goes a flash, caught by one of the Wamais. And some more flashes going in to clear out all of this anti-grenade, stun, whatever kind of gadgetry going on from the defense.
We speculated that we would see both a Jaeger and Wamai used together, and of course, as Wamai's magnets will continue to recharge, he's going to stay with a decent amount of strength for the rest of the round. Of course, he only catches one projectile or one throwable, as the very first kill does pop out on front of our eyes, with Dream being leveled by Young. That's the Goyos swinging out with the TCSG in hand, and a nice kill onto the Ash as well. Dream, whose stats will need to be good as one of the main points of entry for Tempo, but the rest of his team is going to fall right in front of our very eyes, with Mo and NVK getting in on the fun as well. 3 kills, 3 different members of Evil Geniuses. Another goes down, toppling Tempo Storm, leaving Creators in a 1v5. Dire Straits with just a little bit of the round left to go, about a third of the way, give or take, and is he going to be able to push up and pick up Crazy, who's bleeding out on the floor, or will somebody be watching him?
Looks like he's going to get that pickup, so Crazy back into the fight, but what is it really going to matter in a 2v5? Only 45 seconds to go. Things are looking pretty desperate for Tempo. Crazy also on low HP, so he's got to contest with that individually. The strategy in this round was pretty clear from Evil Geniuses. They set up the Wamai and Jaeger gadgetry to try and absorb the throwables and projectiles that would otherwise destroy those volcanic shields. But because all those things were caught, it's only going to get a little bit of the volcanoes dealt with. Now, that's 1 kill for the attack, but that's it. Spades cleans up shop with 2 kills to end out the round, and Evil Geniuses will take round number 1.
That's almost a team ace there. Necrox was the only one who didn't get in on the fun. Spades stealing Necrox's kill, but 2 kills for Spades, the very newest member to Evil Geniuses. And, well, where did the collapse from Tempo Storm in that round happen? It tended to be on the armory wall. I think there were 3 bodies from Tempo Storm that we saw get piled up in that one location. And a big part of that was that as they tried to push in, they had to deal with those ADSs, which we saw them burn, but then they still had the magnets from Wamai, and then the Goyo shields. There was a lot of utility that was just being soaked up by Evil Genius's defense, and obviously done in a way to prevent Tempo Storm from having anything left in the tank when they did push the rest of the site. And then, of course, EG playing around the remaining shields and openings that had been created with soft destruction, and they were able to hit their shots much better than Tempo Storm is. Sometimes when you're in that 50-50, utility isn't really important. What matters is who blinks first. In this case, Tempo Storm were just not quick enough to out-duel EG.
Around to EG. And I like the basic strategy that they put out there. It was well executed. The patience was in. Combination of the Vulcan shields and the Wamai Jaeger worked fantastically. The most important thing, though, is that when you got that combination working, the whole idea behind it is that you're going to try and waste time as the defense. The Evil Geniuses, well, they played into that perfectly. They didn't get over-aggressive. They didn't take unnecessary risks. They wasted that time. They waited it out. Tempo Storm unable to win any of those really essential gunfights when they went for them. Now, you can see that there is both a Zofia and an Ash and a Buck being brought here in terms of that soft destruction. You're going to have plenty. And that is a direct response to Wamai Jaeger combo with the Goyo. So you don't have a Wamai here anymore. EG have switched up its information and information denial on the defense now with that Vigil and Mozzie combined with the Valkyrie. But it's, still a good reaction from Tempo Storm to be careful.
So, Tempo Storm bringing the exact same lineup this time. Some changes for EGs. We're about a third of the way through this round, or at least very close. EG is going with something that we've seen quite a lot of, which is more of a stall and information denial rather than utility denial sort of deal. And down goes NVK, so EG losing out on that opening duel. Obviously things going well for Tempo Storm on this entry. However, down below, Spades with a Nitro Cell in hand. Will he catch anybody? He gets Butters, and down the Buck goes from below. Nobody reading in that play from the Valkyrie, and obviously aided by his teammates or even Valkyrie cameras being used upstairs.
There's the kill, though, for Tempo as Young goes down. So on the entry into Armory, Tempo are making progress. They want to get this top floor control and turn it into a site take. It's not easy, and a beautiful shot from Tree. Mo goes down. Evil Geniuses now on the back foot. Necrox and Spades, the last two. They'll have to fight back, but Spades has been spotted, and he'll fall back. somehow gets away from that situation with his life, but it doesn't matter. Tempo Storm still in full control. Necrox, meanwhile, elsewhere, is going to get crazy. Good kill for him, and that's going to bring things a little bit more even. Tempo are reconfiguring their attack a little bit here, and they've got plenty of time, so they don't have to rush themselves, but they've got to be careful in the transition to not lose any more players. They're going to be patient, use their drones, try to identify the last two locations here. And there's one, Necrox eliminated by Dream, who's on a tear in this round. He's now has to clutch it up in the 1v3.
Shots are just going to rattle over Spade's shoulders, and well, he's going to take the brunt of it head on. A nice 4K for Dream to round out our second round here. If we can tie those together. He was unfortunately not that effective in the very first round, but he's making his presence known in the second and tying things up as Tempo Storm gets that opening pick and continues to roll. Now, the moment that EG relinquished control of that second floor upstairs, well, the rest of it made it so much more challenging for them to hang on, and especially with the amount of soft destruction that we saw on the floor of that second floor. Dream was just lording over top of them, and as EG pushed one by one or just simply waited down below, Dream was able to pick them apart. And one thing we couldn't tell was how much of that was the Ash play being helped by the remaining members of Tempo with their drones out. Yes, Tempo lost 2 players, but they still could have possibly had 6 drones up on the board. There was a Mozzie that would have stopped some of the drones from being that effective, but we couldn't exactly tell how much of that was Dream just working on his own with good game sense and the ability to hold angles above, or if he was helped by his teammates. So regardless, the only upstairs site that you can defend has been won by EG, and they can't go back there, so it's going to be another first floor defense, except this one's going to be over on the other side of the map, in a site, Michael, that we have seen skyrocket in its play. That's over in bathrooms and tellers.
So this site is enabled by the castle. He is an operator that is next to essential with this site being picked. The reason being is you need to hold on to office, and office rotation between Fountain and the main office itself can be cut off so easily by opening up the castle that FaZe is placing right now. So better that castle barricade than a normal door reinforcement or barricade. Evil Geniuses will be stacking 4 players to start off upstairs. Again, this more emphasizing the importance of the top floor of that office fountain area in holding tellers. You can open up vertical holes above bathroom and tellers and deny a plant just by staying above. A little bit of extended roam into armory from Evil Geniuses. This is to try and delay things somewhat. It's going to be NVK in that position. Not an easy job for NVK, but if he can just waste a few seconds here and there, Tempo are going to be forced to attack with a little bit more urgency, and that could make them commit mistakes.
That was 45 seconds or so that you're able to chase NVK off of the beat, and now you have full control of armory and continue to push up to archives. But the beachhead that has been established by EG is inside of Fountain and offices, and well, Dream's position is going to be given away. Mark takes out Spades. It's immediately refragged by Necrox, so EG is somebody in position to be able to trade that one out. Now Mo gets in on the fun, taking down Butters, so what was a swift entry from Tempo has been rebuked by EG quite quickly. 2 lined up, but only 1 goes down to Dream as Young flattens him with the TCSG, and Creators and Crazy find themselves in a 2v3, but a pre-fire from Creators will equalize. Here we go to 2v2, and that control from above is now very much in hand for Tempo Storm.
Evil Geniuses fighting on the back foot, to be sure. There's still half the round for these last 2 attackers to use their vertical control. But EG also knows they don't need to be exposed the vertical elsewhere, not able to be opened up from above. Creators is to go outside, start moving his way to the east stairs, working his way down. He'll find one, and it'll be Necrox who gets the better of that engagement. The drop from Crazy is also caught by Necrox, who's had a wonderful round. Evil Geniuses take their second in this map.
The very first opening pick that happened above was answered by EG, and then they just did not get shaken off of that position inside of offices in the triple wall they were playing around the hatch. Now, I think, honestly, Tempo could have salvaged that round, especially the mid to late round, but their biggest issue was just lack of info, and whether they had drones and didn't utilize them, or they just didn't have them at their disposal. Once again, keep in mind, EG has been running some combination of Mute or Mozzie, not together, but at least one on the board, which can nab any number of drones. If it's Mozzie's case, you get 3 of them. Mute can get all 10 of them, really, if you drive them into the jammers and aren't particularly smart about it. So, with that said, Tempo Storm still had time. They still had 45 seconds or so that they could have tried to flush out Necrox's position. He made some great shots, and well, I believe it was Creators that was heading down east stairs. He was looking over towards Lobby and Passport, not assuming that somebody was going to be, or not expecting somebody to be even closer than that. Necrox was at the very bottom of the stairs as he'd rotated out of Tellers. Is a smart play from EG, especially with where the castle barricades were set up, as Lobby was largely isolated. As Tempo Storm, you would have had to drop through the hatches at that point, and while you have second floor control, and that's great, if EG aren't in positions to be taken advantage of, or if they're not going to give you an inch, then you have to essentially suicide drop through those hatches, and you know how exposed you can be when that happens. So, with that said, we now go to round number 4. We are halfway through the very first defense here between these two teams, and EG will go back up top to Armory as it's unlocked. They were successful here in round number 1. It was a pretty quick round to boot.
See if Tempo Storm's second attempt here is going to be any good. But there goes Mo. We'll also see what's going to happen on that call, but I think this is just going to have to play out as it is. Round is already started, and we're pretty far in. So Evil Geniuses, -1 player. Creators inside a CCTV looking for some Valkyrie cams. Not able to find any, but it's good that they brought the IQ to try and deal with that if necessary. Butters opening up the soft wall, as is typical. So this is controlled destruction from Evil Geniuses. They could have easily reinforced both these walls. They decided not to. That's because they're more comfortable with the right wall being opened up. In the hallway, you see Necrox trying to make a late flank, but Creators is going to be on top of that. Great flank watch there from the IQ. They lost a drone, though, to figure out about that mute. So they got to be worried about their drone economy, as it's actually starting to dwindle quite heavily for Tempo. They've only got, looks like, 3 drones still in play, which is going to give the information advantage strongly to Evil Geniuses. C4 misses, and Butters shrugs off about 45 damage. He'll still be in play, but he's severely wounded.
There's the magnet in action, and it'll blow up the grenade right in front of Sandwich Window. Butters looking to try and catch Spades as the Valkyrie is going to peek. EG has shuffled their roles a little bit with, instead of Spades being on the Wamai, you've got NVK on it now. A frag grenade goes down, and it works its magic to push out both Young and Spades, but it doesn't matter. They get pushed into positions where they can take advantage of Dream and Crazy, and now Creators just flirting with the metal detectors, looking to go on in. He's on the hunt down below. He's going to have to hurry as the rest of his team is dying all around him. NVK on the run out gets caught, and Creators finishes him off. Another beautiful shot, this time onto Young, inside of the small office. Twisting and turning are the members of Tempo. They're at full HP, very much winning it, but no, the shotgun is there of Necrox as he gets traded off, and Creators has not moved a single muscle on Armory. He's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Spades! And there it is! Is that a 4K for Creators? All within the same 1 to 2 feet of the top of those stairs. EG just peek him time and time again, and Creators gets the better of them. With Mo out, it looks like we might need a rehost, and these two teams are so evenly matched so far. It might come back to us depending on what happens. The call has been made. It does indeed look like we will be back again on your screen.
Hello. That was a really big round from Creators, let's be honest. The round was going all in EG's favor, almost every single engagement. I'm sure all of you saw this too, but Butters on that sandwich rappel. Oh boy, he knew the play that needed to be made, and he couldn't get it done. He couldn't win the engagement when he presented himself with that engagement with a well-placed nade, to be fair. He also couldn't win the follow-up engagement with the Valkyrie, and then not a lot accomplished there from Butters. He gets eliminated on the sandwich rappel. That allows Evil Geniuses some fluidity. They can start maneuvering after that, and that's after they've managed to get 2 kills on Butters' other teammates. Following that, you think, okay, well, Evil Geniuses are done. They've won this round. All they need to do is just wait it out. But then suddenly, guns start coming alive. One in particular, that's Creators. So great round to him. He really saved it. Again, should have been an Evil Geniuses round, but here we are locked up in a 2-2, and I think this one's going to keep going back and forth. It's pretty exciting that both of these teams are going toe-to-toe in this fashion. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Evil Geniuses in terms of strategy on their defense. They're playing very passively, but they clearly planned that. That's the idea for them. with their, not only with their utility, how they're using it, whether it's the Vulcan shields or the Wamai or the Jaeger, or just the way that they're positioned and their expectations of their enemy. I will say that Tempo Storm are being more attentive to that passiveness than I expected them to be, though, because that round still had plenty of time when creators went in for that final 1v1.
You want to look specifically at the way that Butters played as well on that sandwich rappel, and I think that is a great focal point for the round. And creators dug them out of a hole that they had found themselves in. I think you're correct. It started out with Butters being in that really powerful position on sandwich rappel, and he could have netted 2 kills very easily. That first grenade gets caught by the magnet, the second one drops right into the lap of both the Goyo and the Valkyrie. It's not cooked as long as it could have been, and because of that, both members of EG are flushed out of their position. But if I remember the kill feed correctly, they both immediately responded by getting kills. So as Butters on that rappel moved both Young and Spades out of their spot, when Tempo Storm pushed in to take advantage of that, which they read correctly, EG still outskilled them in their gunfights and ended up winning both of those duels. Now, it didn't help that Butters wasn't able to capitalize on either the Goyo or the Valkyrie that were playing in that position, but man, you got to feel for Tempo in that spot because they played it well. But EG were anticipating the push that was coming in. And Border is a map where, you know, if you're looking at an Armory or Archives defense, where are people going to come from? There's only 4 doorways, 5 doorways that you really need to watch. 4 doorways in a window or 2. That's it. I got to really give a lot of commendation to the way that EG played that out. And Tempo Storm may be getting a little bit too hasty, and I can imagine chaotic comms were a big part of why EG was able to capitalize off of the play.
But here we are, ready to get back into the match, and obviously it will be an Armory pick again from Evil Geniuses. It seemed in the past like their best site, and as we said earlier, they looked likely to win the last time they were here, but creators had something different to say about that. Now, it is once again going to be the Wamai Jaeger Goyo combo to try and absorb all that utility before it gets to the Goyo shields to then further delay the round. Mute being brought to also assist in delaying as it gets a lot of that information. And I made a note of this in the last round, and I think it's important. Tempo's drone economy is getting seriously shut down by Evil Geniuses. We had a situation there leading into the end of that round where it looked like they had maybe 3 drones left. And granted, this is when the engagements are starting to come out, and Tempo have already figured out where Evil Geniuses are for the most part, but still, that is a serious lock on information. So good job to Evil Geniuses for that. MVK bringing the Doc. So Doc's good for 2 reasons, actually, in this situation. It might seem like a throwaway operator utility-wise, but actually, when you're playing as passively as Evil Geniuses are, when you're just sitting in your sight waiting for your enemy to come to you, if you can recover from any risk taken or any angle accomplished from Tempo, maybe they get a bullet into your leg or into your torso as you're trying to transition somewhere, and you get a Doc to heal you right back up when you're playing this passively, I think it really makes sense. So there is a clear plan. Again, it's the same one that Evil Geniuses have had on this site 3 times now, but they're on the same page, as I said, in the lead into this match, and I think that's valuable.
10 seconds to go.
It was Modiga that was playing the Jaeger last time. That was correct. I was wondering when he disconnected. I was trying to think. I was like, I'm 99% certain he was playing the Jaeger last time, and yeah, that proves to be correct. All of his gadgetry was very likely down when he got disconnected. I mean, we have the ability to now have a pop-up so you can see exactly what certain operators have left. And of course, this is, if you didn't watch the 6 Invitational at all and you didn't watch EU earlier today or really consumed any professional Rainbow Six since the latest Void Edge patch went live, you wouldn't have known that we have this new UI here in front of you. So as nice as it is, you get to see it yourself. I do think that EG, despite the fact that they trailed, definitely could have won that round off of somebody like Mo and his fragging abilities too. And yeah, Doc being on the board is going to aid all of the fragging that's going to come out from Evil Geniuses, who, to be honest, there hasn't really been a standout performer from EG. They've all been pulling their weight every single round, whereas I think you look at Tempo, they've been seeing Creators and Dream be the ones to shoulder some of this weight, or most of the weight rather, for the attack so far.
Unfortunately, we lose all the stats that we gain in previous iterations of this custom, so we can't really track it directly anymore, but we'll at least get to see the end result of the rounds that follow this one, assuming we don't need to rehost anymore. Mark playing on Ventilation Balcony, and he's going to be putting some pressure onto not only the window that faces into Archives, but the cross between Archives and the other site. Necrox will get Dream in an engagement. I don't think he should have been able to win, but he did, and there's a follow-up. Mo will get one in the hallway. That's Creators Gone and Dream. Those are the two standout players that we were talking about earlier, that you were talking about, Parker, and they're just eliminated for Tempo, which is going to put them in a much worse spot. They'll have to work their way still into offices. You can see there's a player for by Suicide. Nice shot from Butters, though. NVK eliminated in Fountain. C4 comes out. It goes wide. A hard miss there for the mute of Necrox. He barely gets away with his life. There's no Doc to heal him back up, so he's going to have to win engagement with that shotgun or get a headshot to have any hope of contributing.
You play a very shrewd and safe angle if you're Necrox, and well, if somebody pre-fires vaulting in a window or heading through a doorway, you're dead, because anything is going to be able to topple you there. Heck, one of the pieces of debris falling from the roof of Border will be your undoing as well, and he gets spotted out. There he goes. One shot from Crazy. No ability to shrug that one off. And it looks like there might be another on the board, but a missed opportunity for Butters through the soft wall inside of Monitors, or Break Room, rather, to be more specific. It's going to put these teams still at the standstill. 30 seconds or thereabouts to go. 3v3 and a bit of a struggle for Crazy to control that Bearing 9 as he looks to head on in towards the bomb site. Is he going to be able to do anything? Well, no. The door looks like it's closed, but can he see through it? On his perspective, it's very likely open. Inside of the site is Mark. He's trying his best. There's one from Crazy waiting very patiently. He bursts into the site. It's a 2v2. Spades trades that one off. Mark is there as well. And it's Mo, the man who unfortunately disconnected last time. He goes huge. 2 big kills for Mo. And EG will find themselves with some salvation in the final seconds of that round to take the lead.
Huge round for Mo. You said it perfectly, Parker, and he does save a round for EG, as did Creators in the previous round for Tempo Storm. So lots of clutches coming in here. That was some poor coverage there from the Zofia from Tempo Storm, not looking to the right angle, expecting the last player on the defense to come from deep inside of Armory. But if we take a zoom out there for a second, Evil Geniuses were in the driver's seat for the majority of that round. When they were holding on to offices, it looked like Tempo had completely stalled out. They did their best to get into office, but Necrox put up a heck of a fight as that mute. He managed to get one kill that he really just shouldn't have been able to get onto Dream. Also, Creators dying in the hallway, and then suddenly you get defanged like that. 2 of your top fraggers for Tempo just gone. It looks like EG should be able to lock it out, and it felt like they were going to be able to lock it out with the way that they were playing. Some unnecessary risk being taken, some risks being forced into. For example, Necrox, his position by that desk, well, you said it yourself, he needed to utilize a shrewd angle with a shotgun, and he was forced there by the Habana, so he really didn't have any options. So you can forgive that for Necrox. The rest of the engagements that we saw for Evil Geniuses, far off site, some being unnecessary in their attempt to hold on to Archives, some a little too aggressive. Evil Geniuses losing too many bodies, then Tempo, suddenly they've got control of the site they're planting. That's a distinct lack of coverage from Evil Geniuses, and again, one too many unnecessary risks. Mo was in a clutch situation that he didn't necessarily need to be in.
There's some good shooting from Tempo Storm, especially Butters. I think there was 2 very quick picks from Crazy and Butters towards the mid-round. I think it was about halfway through the round that was able to turn things on their head, as we saw. You know, it was a 3v5, became a 3v3. That tends to be what we see an awful lot. I feel like there are 2 rhythms to a round, is that it's a 3v5 and it becomes a 3v3 in a hurry, or that 3v5 becomes an OV5 usually about 30 seconds later. There's really no middle ground, I tend to find, especially when those 2 picks come out very early. So with this round, once again, it's going to be Events Workshop defense. It's the second crack at it for Evil Geniuses, and their very final defense before we'll be swapping sides. And well, a lot of teams invest extremely heavily in a CCTV/monitors defense, and EG had that originally, but you can see on the wall leading towards 90, there's a rotate hole, so EG are able to bail themselves out. They've now headed over towards Armory, where the wall will be taken, no contest. Crazy manages to open it up. As you can see from EG's lineup, there is no breach denial, so the Thermite didn't have to worry too much about anybody stopping him. However, what holes were made by EG will be used against them, and Butters drops to the floor, guns down Young, playing just outside a small office. That's a C4 that's likely gone from the Goyo, unless he had impacts in hand, and a big gun up top that's also removed.
That was a really important entry there, and Young, eliminated early on, is going to force the rest of the roamers to fall further back. You can see Evil Geniuses have set up some angles to try and get some counter picks. A nice one set up specifically by Beeper's door. Anyone on the attack when clearing armory could step into that. Bad timing to look away there for Mo, but he gets refragged at least by Spades at the top of East Stairs. And Evil Geniuses keep themselves in the fight, but only barely. They've also lost that top floor control. The Tempo have time to use it. Butters will get MVK, so that's his second in the round. An attempted retake of the top floor for MVK seems ill-advised at this time. Evil Geniuses now even further in the disadvantage.
Great patience here with just under a minute to go left in the round. Once again, that top floor control will be very crucial for Tempo Storm. Dream, in particular, was able to pick apart Evil Geniuses, and, well, there's not that much left to pick on the corpse of EG, and, well, there's going to be even less meat on it now. As Necrox goes down, it's Spades in a 1v4, a pea shooter. A nice shot through the wall, tracks Mark, and he's gone, but he's not going to be able to outduel the man, the myth, the legend himself. Stream, once again, he wasn't really that big in that round, but he gets the impact frags that you need. And you said it yourself. You thought this was going to go the distance. You thought it was going to be close, and so far, you were absolutely correct. The first half of this matchup, 3-3, as we swap sides and see, are EG just an attacking team? Our Tempo Storm just a defending team? We'll find out.
It's absolutely possible that we could see this turn on its head in one way or another as the half swap comes in. But so far, as you just talked about, this has been a complete back and forth. I mean, nobody has gotten 2 rounds in a row, and it's been that constant exchange of rounds that has kept this exciting for both teams. Armory, the first site for Tempo, as is expected. We'll see if they're able to hold this one as well as Evil Geniuses did, but I don't think they're going to use the same strategy. You can see that there is a Goyo being brought, but they've opted for the information denial rather than the Wamai to assist the Jaeger. So that's your typical Mute Mozzie combination that's going to slow down the drones. I think that they're just leaning into that because they were feeling the pain and the information on the last half, as well as it's probably what they were planning in the first place. It's a sensible pick there, a much more standard, I'd say, the Mute Mozzie, as it is going to hurt droning for the attack quite a lot. It allows you a little bit more freedom to get aggressive as a defender, and you can stay undetected in wherever you're playing for a little bit longer. It also works especially well with the CCTV hold, which is what we're seeing here from Tempo Storm. CCTV is a difficult site, or not difficult site, but difficult room to hold at all, and it's aided quite a lot by Mutant Mozzie.
Both of these teams really like this attacking composition, and I think at this point you're gonna need a lot of this soft destruction in addition to being able to pinpoint where these gadgets are. Tempo Storm not opting for the Wamai, which means that they're going to be soaking up more information than utility, as you've only really got the ADSs to contend with, then of course the Goyo shields as well, but we've seen teams that are adaptable be able to move around those Goyo shields without having to burn them down. They are utility soaks after all. They are designed to catch your projectiles or frag grenades and be area denial for the defenders, though they can be used against the attackers too, of course. But right now, all we're seeing is an entry from down below. And NVK, I don't know if he was on his own, not quite sure, but there you can see Butters playing up top, the TCSG, the Goyo inside of security. He's going to get pick number 1 and start things off with NVK not being that effective on that Zofia, and you better hope that the Zofia has used all of her projectiles, especially with the lineup that we see from Tempo.
Ash Charge is coming in from below, and, well, there's Mo to get Creators, who had repositioned thanks to that Ash Charge. That's a good start there for Evil Geniuses. Answer back to the earlier kill on NVK from Tempo. But nothing really after that. They've managed to deal with the defenders roaming in CCTV. They haven't actually gotten control of anything. They haven't actually made a push for the site, which is still armory. And with only a minute left to go, Evil Geniuses are going to have to struggle to get through that armory wall. CCTV clear, but that's job done for Tempo, really. They're not sweating that. Now they just need to wait out the remainder of the round, and a lot of the utility on Evil Geniuses has been used up. At least 1 Ash Charge, you lost your Zofia, and 1 nade from Mo means less vertical pressure, and there's not even time to apply that vertical pressure from below. Spades will get a repel and try and cover from Sandwich. We'll see if he's able to cut off the rotations. Armory wall unreinforced. Those reinforcements were needed for CCTV, and so the Buck will open it up nice and easy. Mark seems to be going for a rotation to try and maybe run out on spades, see if he's able to get that successfully. He's got to make sure it's clear downstairs in workshop before he commits to that. There's not much time here for Evil Geniuses to go for the execution, so when it happens, it'll be explosive. There might even be C4s left on tempo to deny the plant, so this is dangerous if you're Evil Geniuses leaving this little time on the clock. Here's the push. Mo lights up his enemy Dream, but not getting the kill is really bad. He'll die in the follow-up engagement to Butters. Young trades, though, and goes for the plant. Dream still alive, still getting headshots. Young sticking it, but there's Spades to cover on Repel. C4 denies the plant, and now Spades cannot win the round. He tries, but it's not gonna happen. Tempo Storm take the first round of the second half.
Really boils down to the play from below. We might need another rehost. I don't know if it's going to get called or not. We'll see what the admins have to say, but yeah, that play from down below, that was Mark with the C4, I believe, that you were talking about, and Mark is just very quietly doing his job. He's not going to be a flashy player. He never really has been. When he was on Reciprocity, he played the Offland thankless roles. He was playing a lot of Castle. He was playing support primarily on a team that got knocked quite a bit for not having any real dedicated support players. So Mark just adding a little bit of experience to this team, and we'll see if there's a rehost being called or not. The site will be downstairs, so the longer it takes for this to be called, the more that we're going to see revealed to us about this setup. EG is going to be running the same thing, and there we go. EG is out. We're going to come back to us yet again, and we'll allow these teams to reset. So hello, nice to see you.
We know what the bomb site is. It's going to be ventilation. Not sure exactly the nature of the rehost, but we've got it going out, so we know we're going to reset, figure out what's going on exactly. This is going to be the first rehost, I think, that we leave where one team is actually significantly in the lead. We've got Tempo Storm up 4-3. Another little tidbit here is that was the very first round that followed another round for either team. So Tempo Storm managed to get 2 in a row. Congratulations to them, as that just hasn't happened so far through this match prior. What we saw from Tempo Storm on that defense was okay. They played the utility game well, like you said. Mark, a huge contributor to that. But I would more point a finger at Evil Genius and critique their attack, because they came from below to deal with the players in CCTV, right? And okay, that makes sense. Took them way too long, cost them an operator and a Zofia at that. That's a lot of your soft destruction just gone. Then when they had control of CCTV, it took them about 20-30 seconds more than it should have for them to get control, like actually put a body in CCTV, start opening up that armory wall. And yeah, it's easy because you got the Buck and you've got a soft wall, but still, this is stuff that needs to be happening much sooner. Further, they didn't use any of the control that they had from below. And you saw it actually. I think it was Mark who went downstairs. He dropped from into tellers. He punched a hole into back workshop, and he's like, "Oh, hey, where is everybody? I can't find them." And he got confused, but then he went for the C4 from below. And then, congratulations, Tempo Storm take the round. The reason he must have been confused in that situation is because EG could have gone below. They could have used some amount of the soft destruction they had left to try and apply some pressure from underneath, cut off rotations, put more pressure on the anchors to facilitate a plant behind the lockers. But it just didn't happen. Evil Geniuses stacked up on Armory Wall, and there was very low chance that they were going to be able to win from that.
You have to wonder if that was NVK's job as well. The Zofia who got picked off early in the engagement with Butters upstairs inside of monitors, because it's very commonplace when you see that there was 3 possible C4s on the board for Tempo Storm. You expect one of them to be down below. You almost always expect it. EG for the longest period of time had Canadian running Pulse on that role. You've seen Mutes go down there, Mozzie's now go down there, and there's a couple default plant spots that are going to be the target for these attackers. If you leave somebody down below with the Nitro Cell, and it's not a guessing game a lot of times, you're in bad shape as an attacking team. And like I said, I don't know if NVK going down early forced EG to make some adjustments, because they've been very much favoring that lineup that could also have an IQ down below. But when you find yourself trailing in a number like that early on, it could have just been that EG said, let's just pull out the execute and hope that we can clean up and not worry about the nitro cell. But unfortunately, they needed to worry about it because it ended up being their undoing, and the plant didn't go down. And unless my metrics are wrong here, I don't think we've seen a successful defuse go down so far. So there have been a couple that have gotten really close as we load back in. We'll get our matchup underway in round number 8. But man, oh man, that was a major mistake by EG to not have somebody down below. And once again, it could have just been because they were down in numbers.
Yeah, and that makes total sense, of course. But still a costly situation for EG to find themselves in. Well, ventilation is, of course, next bomb site. Standard site rotation here for Tempo so far. Armory being your primary. Then you do ventilation. Then you decide between CC and tellers. And often on border, we actually don't even see teams need to decide between security and tellers because, or rather customs and tellers, because you're going to see a lot of losses on the defensive side, whether it be ventilation or armory. That is a site that one of these squads will not favor. It is typical that you will lose at least 1 or 2 of your defenses. In EG's case, 3. For Tempo, thus far, they've managed to go undefeated, but that's just 1 round, so that doesn't really count for anything. We'll see what they're able to do here on ventilation. They brought a Castle to try and help that top floor hold. Something to note, of course, about Castle is that he now has the sidearm shotgun, which basically makes him... I mean, it eliminates the need for some other shotguns being brought. It means that you're much more... If you bring a Castle, you've got many more options when it comes to the weapons that you're bringing outside of the Castle for shotguns. And, of course, there's a lot of operators like that. You know, Mozzie also still has his sidearm shotguns and so on and so on. But it just gives him an extra layer of support for the team in the prep phase, and it means you can be a little bit more fluid with your operator selection.
Well, you see a change coming out. It's a Hibana instead of a Thermite, but overall, the attackers, like I said on border, we won't see that much flexibility on attack here, and it's shown itself 100%, right? So the question is going to be early engagement with these teams. Are we going to see EG just not drone somebody out? We don't really know. Right now, obviously, this being a different site, you could still see players playing over by monitors, and there you go. That's a perfect example of it. What really well played by NVK is he takes out creators, and that Castle was just living to die at that point. Another body spotted by Mo. It's going to be over by Metal, but he's not going to re-engage. Instead, he'll corral the rest of his teammates and see if they can take monitors from the other side. There's a rotate for Tempo Storm if they need to get out of there. It's going to be right by 90. In goes Mo. Some damage being done to him as Butters drops, and, well, EG understand where they are, but they can't find anybody just yet. This will allow Tempo to reposition and possibly collapse on EG if EG doesn't have the wherewithal with the drones to figure out Tempo's location.
Well, first, I really liked the play there from NVK and the support from the rest of his team to allow that kill inside of monitors. But, that's embarrassing. Mo will take down Spades. Bad coordination. They were standing on top of each other, and now Tempo find themselves with an even man count. And I'm sure they are happy about that one. I wonder who on Tempo is taking the claim for that kill. Now, it's going to be a drop off the top floor for the majority of Tempo, but still 1 roamer in Mark upstairs. Dream is going to get Mo, who had previously team killed his opponent or his teammate. So now, no way for him to bounce back. Mark will get MVK by 90 as well. So now suddenly Tempo, who had lost the first player, are in seemingly full control. Mark gets down there by Necrox. I'm not sure if he's aware of that. He might waste a little bit of time. It seems like they're not aware that they've downed that player. A nice shot from Young as well. Suddenly a 2 versus 2. This is very doable for EG. Necrox cleans up that kill. Crazy and Dream now still alive and well. And there goes Necrox. Tempo take the final kill. And they will put 3 rounds in a row.
Very winnable is always the thing that we say before things tend to go sideways for those that could possibly win. But here we are. That was once again for Tempo Storm. The big thing for them was the inability for EG to find them, and the clear that Tempo did, and then retaking was very well done, and they committed again to that second floor very strongly. We saw Butters drop off. He went right back up top. He and Mark supporting each other and just bleeding EG dry of utility at that point. I even said it myself, is EG going to have the wherewithal to realize that Tempo is retaking, or are EG going to be able to get drones on the ground to figure out the locations of the Tempo players? And the answer to that question is, well, no, really. EG did not do a suitable job at being able to determine the way that Tempo retook. So kudos to Tempo Storm in the way that they played that. I like to see that style of play. It's obviously a confident style, and when you've got a couple young gunners on your hands like Tempo does, you can get away with those kind of plays. And retakes, aggressive plays through walls, punch holes, bullet holes, etc. are a big part of why we call this map a freak show map, because you can do things that are very unpredictable and oftentimes flummox your team, especially a team that is known for being quite structured like EG has been in the past. So with that said, if there's a victory here for Tempo Storm, who are so far perfect on defense, it'll be match point for them, and a guaranteed 1 point, which will sink EG to dead last, as they are currently tied with each other. But it's going to be a Bathroom Teller's defense. The second time that we've seen this site, EG was successful here in round 3, but that's all we've seen in this matchup. No customs yet.
So Evil Geniuses, through their attacking have shown us an ability to strategize and get control of locations that they think are priorities, like CCTV, for example, or armory above vents. They've been doing a decent job at that, to be fair. But then the actual final punch, the haymaker to bring it all home, it isn't landing for Evil Geniuses. They need to work a little bit more on that if they want to take some of these attack rounds and keep this as close as it was in the first half. You said yourself, it might be the case that one of these teams is just better at a certain side, and well, it looks like Tempo is really good at defense, and there's a beautiful C4 from Creators. Mo goes down, and Evil Geniuses find themselves a man disadvantage now.
Beautifully well played, and with Mo being gone, that's alongside NVK, been two of the hottest performers for EG, and people they've been relying upon. NVK, we saw how the round went when he was taken out early back in round 7, and well, round 9 you lose most of your soft destruction, and you lose your only set of frag grenades as well. Keep in mind that if EG is as well structured of a team as they have been known to be, that, well, it's going to be really challenging for them to be able to find somebody to take up that position, but almost a freebie, and it's going to be another now as NVK just storms in, takes 2 kills for his liking. Spades finds 1 as well, and immediately Tempo is trailing. It gets worse now with Butters going down to Young, and it's Dream. A very suiting name given the position that he's in, though Nightmare might be more appropriate. He'll head down below. A 1v4, plant being attempted by Young, and he's just not fast enough. Spades hits the deck first, and EG will stay alive. It will inch closer to tying it up with Tempo Storm. It's still Tempo Storm's match right now. No match point just yet, but very well played from EG to be able to come back, despite the fact that the loss of Mo earlier could have been a death sentence for that round.
It was definitely looking really scary for Evil Geniuses, but great recovery to be sure. Nice drop there by Spades also. He could have been just the second casualty in that lineup that we saw for Dream, but not so, because Spades was faster on the trigger. So, still very close. Tempo looking pretty solid on defense, but this is still, again, anyone's game. Armory, the site now unlocked. It was the first site defended by Tempo, and it was their most successful, I'd say. I'll attempt it once more. Now, the second time that Evil Geniuses got to Armory, after winning it the first time, they actually lost here. And they did win it on the third attempt, but there's still potential for Tempo to trip up a little bit and not get to that much point. Evil Geniuses have been looking much better on attack after that third round, or they did look better on that third round, I guess. There was a lot of great coordination, like collapse into office, and Tempo wasn't given enough time to actually fall back. That's the biggest thing. Because Tempo couldn't fall back, they lost too many bodies upstairs on that entry from Evil Geniuses. It just wasn't possible for Tempo to bounce back in the round overall.
So with the cycle fully completed, Will be an opportunity to go for the throat here if you're Tempo Storm. You want to be able to play as strongly as you did on that very first defense. Though there will be a bit of a different hold. We'd seen that the armory wall was neglected in terms of reinforcements by Tempo Storm. They had stacked them up inside a CCTV. Now they've gone down below in jail, so you know that Tempo Storm is going to have somebody down playing with that nitro cell. Those two reinforcements give information to EG in abundance. However, it could end up being a fake because from what we see of the outlines, it looks like Tempo Storm largely have everybody up top. Jail's been taken very quickly by Spades, who will continue to head in as the rest of EG assemble above. Very narrowly, a peek from Butters, who had been able to take out NVK from a very similar position upstairs inside monitors. It's going to be Mo down below. NVK almost toppled as he's got a tiny bit of HP over by East Stairs. They'll go back to drones for EG just to try to figure out where everybody is. Taking apart this monitors and CCTV hold right now is going to be critical, and just a little bit too slow was Mo, but he finds the kill on the Craters anyway. That's the opening pick that they so desperately needed, and one part of that defense has been taken away. Butters as well will scramble out over towards Armory and head to small desk. And EG now look like they're in pretty good control here with about half of the round to go.
Soft wall still here. NVK and Mo both alive. Even Space, they've got all their soft destruction. They can start opening up that wall whenever they see fit. Mo is going to be on that sandwich rappel along with the Ash of Spades, and they'll be trying to nade out the player in Locker's corner. Mark, though, wants to go for the run out. It's being watched by Spades while the nade comes from Mo. There is the nade. It is a miss, so failure for Evil Geniuses in dealing with that player by Lockers. Now they're going to focus entirely on that armory take, it seems. There is a player downstairs. It's NVK this time, so your theory is correct, Parker. It was NVK the Zofia that they wanted when they were attacking onto the site to go under the site. He is doing just that. He'll be holding on to that bottom layer, denying the C4 from below. There goes Young, though. That's not a great start to the entry. Crazy on the run out, or Mark rather on the run out, and he'll lose the fight to Necrox. An incredible turnaround there for Necrox.
Oh no.
Evil Geniuses now find themselves in a significant advantage with rotation still cut off and enough time just barely to plant. They've also got their cover from below still, because that's the Zofia. Looks like MVK tries to push up top metal, dies in that endeavor. Dream gets one following Butter's kill, but Mo's there to clean up shop, getting 2 kills. Butter, the last one alive. He has to retake from CC and denying the plant. A big play from Butters. Tempo Storm wins a round they really shouldn't have.
Time and time again, how many times are we going to hear him say that EG had control and they give it up. For whatever reason, they give it up. There's a blind spot. Nobody's covering it. And Tempo Storm's unpredictability has been massive here on Border. A really exceptional job of just being able to evade the line of sight that EG has and play out of that fog of war. Now, you can give a lot of credit to the way that Tempo is stopping them with mute jammers, Mozzie pests, etc., but I really don't think that's the culprit. I think that EG are just not in a position where they understand who is and isn't exposed. Now, there was a downed member of EG, so it was a 1v1 that Butters didn't really have to do all that much to be able to win the round, but still, you shouldn't be getting to that position. You really shouldn't. Not if you're EG, not with the way that Tempo is playing and the unpredictability that Tempo is playing with. EG need to be more aware of that. They're just not right now. And with it being match point, Tempo has now guaranteed themselves a single point on the standings. EG is going to have to fight for a draw. The defense for Tempo Storm has been exemplary. They've won 3 of 4 rounds, and a lot of it off of really strong individual plays. EG has 2 of the 4 rounds with an opening pick. They've had a numbers advantage and squandered it. In both of the rounds that EG got that opening pick, they lost the round still. So something is clearly going wrong for this EG team. I don't know if it's just communication, but they had 2 months to woodshed. 2 months to build up a strategy around Spades being on this roster. He came on exactly or almost exactly 2 months ago. And right now, Tempo Storm, with Mark in particular, they are looking stronger. It could just be Border, and I'm sure you might agree with that, but it could just be Border, but we're seeing signs of life from Tempo Storm that we really haven't in a lot of other matches.
The biggest thing from Tempo is their ability to find an opening in Evil Genius's attacks. Those late flanks from the defensive tempo, that's what's causing so much harm. And you could go into the operator selection about that pretty deep, actually. But we'll focus on this round, and I'll get to that probably after the match. Evil Geniuses trying to get control of CCTV. Butters in an attempt to stop that. Creator's also here, and he's going to be holding from Banana, from that big desk in CC. Missed opportunity there from MVK, but he does at least some damage, and there goes Creators. Mo narrowly gets the second one as well. A great entry there from Mo, trying to keep his team alive. Tempo now have to work back from a significant deficit. Bream trying his best to get some refrags on an aggressive angle, and he's going to have to do that. Otherwise, you can expect Evil Geniuses to completely collapse on Tempo, given they still have half of the round to work with.
Not a bad start for EG by any stretch. You know, 2 picks, action comes quite quickly, but remember it is a 3v5, so 2 things can happen as we discussed. It's going to be either a very quick 3v3 or EG is going to continue to keep this ball rolling. You take a significant HP or amount of HP off of Dream and look for yet another kill, this time on a crazy down below. He's playing by East. This is a really tough shot for him to make, but he knew he had to fight his way out. He'll lose the fight to NVK as a C4 erupts just by the main door. Mark will retake from above, and it looks to be a landslide for Evil Geniuses. Live Evil, they say. Well, Tempo Storm's not going to live at all. Evil Genius is a flawless round. Not bad. We will go to round number 12. A draw still very much on the table for a team that used to bleed blue. Where are they going to go if you're Tempo Storm? Well, Ventilation Workshop seems likely, but you've still got Bathroom up. It was a victory for EG last time. Will we see a Customs for the very first time? Will we see another Vents Workshop defense? It certainly seems like it, with what's being revealed right now by Tempo's lineup.
So one thing I want to talk about there is actually what I was discussing earlier with the operator selection. The most common culprit of a win, or the most common reason, I guess, for a win when it comes to Tempo's defense is their ability to late flank or just flank in general. Evil Geniuses have been doing a pretty poor job of holding on to their flanks and having information on their flanks. Just in general, controlling anything that isn't the actual forward engagement, whether that's C4 from below or somebody coming in late from CCTV and from break room. Doesn't matter. It's just not been in full control for Evil Geniuses on the attacking side. So that could be mitigated by picking a Nomad, for example. That would be a fix. That would force the flanker to give away information. It means you can put up those air jabs downstairs, for example. If you want to control C4 from below early on in the round before you execute, you've got options on how you can use those Nomads. And she's not the only operator that's capable of that. I'm sure you guys know. I'm not going to get too deep into that. The reason that that's not happening is in all likelihood because of the expectation and the need for soft destruction. Now there's 2 different things that are leading into that. There's of course things like Goyo, Castle. These are operators that have been pretty prevalent for the defense in this map, but it's also just a natural symptom of border. When you play this map, you need soft destruction as an attacking team. It is so essential. And having that soft destruction in abundance can often be the difference between winning a match and losing a match. So Evil Geniuses, for most of these rounds, have been just playing into that the same way Tempo did. Soft destruction, soft destruction, soft destruction. You get your Zofia, your Buck, and your Ashe. It's a sensible strategy, but it does leave you wishing you had things like a Nomad air jab on the flank sometimes. Well, it's going to be a clear into Customs for Evil Geniuses, or at least an open wall. I wonder if they're aware of the Pulse Dream playing in Customs just below them.
Not entirely sure. None of it's been droned out or not. EG's drone work has largely been stopped by Tempo Storm or just has not been strong enough. Though if you do look at EG's lineup, they've only got 1 extra drone on the field. That's NVK's. Everybody else still has them in their pocket. Oh, it is a little bit confusing though, because you see, with the mute jammers down, a number of those drones could have been snatched at this point by the defense and rendered completely useless. Young is going to lose one of his drones, so he's going to need to toss one out as the entry from EG is heading on over towards Armory, trying to bait out those ADSs as Butters will be on the front lines. Down goes the shield in front of him. No Goyo on the board, so it's just a regular deployable shield. And half of the round to go as, well, Mo just toys with heading on in. Butters is going to get out of there, so Tempo Storm has completely given up that second floor of Armory, but they could retake at any point.
Oh, Big C4, Dream gets 2, and Tempo find themselves on match point up 2 members with only a minute left for Evil Geniuses to execute. Now, luckily for EG, they do still have their buck, so this is not all over, but that has got to be a demoralizing blow. The second C4 seems to have missed. Here comes another one, the third out. NVK gets 1, Bo gets another. Evil Geniuses are suddenly back in the round. They've still got enough time to make this execution happen from above, and they can still pick off the anchors underneath them. What's more, those C4s have been missing following the first one, so there's not a lot of chances for Tempo to fight back through these vertical angles.
I was very patiently watching the holes that have been opened up by the buck upstairs. Necrox, as a G8 in hand, he takes down Creators, and Dream and Mark still very much in play. Mark quietly doing his job, as I said. We'll need some big plays from him, but he's spotted by the buck, and he is a dead man walking, or standing in that case, as he's totally immobilized, leaving Dream to try and clutch it out. Now, Dream had gotten his C4 off earlier. The drone just nearby, his position given away, and he's going to get swung on by Necrox, and that'll be all she wrote on that matchup. As Tempo Storm had defeated Evil Geniuses in their very first match, this one being a draw will mean that Tempo Storm has the tiebreaker against EG, and while both teams get 1 point, EG will stay in 8th, Tempo Storm still in 7th. There will be no movement in the bottom of the standings as they trail all the other teams.